The School of Hard Knocks 20 took place at the Cypress Center in Medicine Hat. Professional and amateur fighters from across Canada battled it out in the Hard Knocks cage.
To the School of Hard Knocks.
This School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 185-pound division and is brought to you by MMA News Canada.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the School of Hard Knocks 20, presented by the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship. My name is Ryan Valentine, sitting cage side here with Jeremy Valentine as we get set for Hard Knocks 20 from the Cypress Center in Medicine Hat. Coming down to the cage right now in the blue corner, Ryan Nittery from Dynamic Mixed Martial Arts, 1-0 as an amateur. They're fighting at 190 pounds, and this 23-year-old 6'2" fighter looked very impressive in his debut.
Yeah, his first debut, he was, like he wants to put it, calm like a bomb, and came out and won by TKO in the first round, and just was a very dynamic fighter, playing on the name of his club there, but it reigns true here for Ryan Nittery, coming from Calgary.
Yeah, coming down primarily a Muay Thai fighter in his background, proved that in his debut. Says that he's not necessarily happy with being the curtain jerker, if you will. The first fight in the night, the guy that needs to get the crowd revved up. Says he wants to fight later in the card because, as we know with mixed martial arts, the better fighters get to fight later in the card. Feels like he wants to move there, but knows that he has to earn that spot on the card. Has to earn the right to fight later in the card, and we'll see whether or not he can do that and further his amateur career here today. Now, Jeremy, I'll get you to do me a quick favor and run over the amateur rules again for those watching at home here in the Medicine Hat Commission.
Well, in the Medicine Hat Commission, we do have the ground and pound, something that we don't have in Calgary, which is where we do a lot of our events. So we do have the ground and pound, which is a good thing, but we don't have any knees or elbows to the head at any time. You just want to protect those amateur fighters as they go through, twisting leg locks as well.
Now we'll meet Kevin Legacy as he comes down to the cage out of INC Kickboxing and Team Extreme from Medicine Hat here, getting a bit of a pop from the local crowd as he makes his way down. 1-1 as an amateur, 38 years old, standing 5'8".
Yeah, and I was asking him about the age difference. He's 15 years older than Ryan Nittery, and I asked, is that going to make a difference? And he said he doesn't feel that he doesn't feel 38. He doesn't feel like he's an old man by any means, and is looking to go the whole distance and dominate and use his game.
Got his last win on a shoulder crank in his last fight. Lost his debut fight to Mike Gear, who we will see later tonight fighting for a title, one of two title fights on the card.
Well, and Mike Gear is not to be laughed at. Mike Gear is a monster. So to say that you've lost to Mike Gear, that's not a knock on you. Mike Gear he's a monster, like I said it before. But you look at that, he's seen Ryan Nittery fight, has legacy, so he's going in prepared and knows that Nittery is looking to prove a point, and maybe we're going to see a slugfest here in the first fight of the night.
Just 90 seconds was the first fight for Ryan Nittery, so not sure how much of that scouting you can do. Feels like he's going to be a much stronger opponent for Ryan Nittery is Kevin Legasse.
For the official fighter introductions. In the first on-site restoration blue corner, he's 1-0 as an amateur and weighed in at 189 pounds. Fighting out of Dynamic MMA from Calgary, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Ryan Nittery! And in the Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse red corner, he's 1-1 as an amateur and weighed in at 190.5 pounds. Fighting out of INC Kickboxing and Team Extreme from Medicine Hat, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Kevin Legasse! This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Bernie Pohl.
So you can see right away in looking at these two fighters the difference between 190 pounds at 5'8" and 190 pounds at 6'2". It'll be interesting to see whether Ryan Nittery can use his reach advantage to his advantage in keeping the kickboxing Kevin Legasse at a distance.
Well, in the Muay Thai background by both of these guys, we should see a lot of stand-up here, but look for Ryan Nittery to use his jab to be able to keep Kevin Legasse at a distance, and Legasse immediately in on a double leg and taking him to the cage and taking him down.
Yeah, quick shot there from Legasse. Not a surprise when you're looking at a guy standing 6 inches taller than you and with a significant reach advantage as well. Nice attempt at a wall walk there from Nittery, but Legasse able to keep him on the ground so far in the early going. Inside control, a good spot to be. Again, you are allowed strikes to the head of a downed opponent here under the Medicine Hat rules, so we'll see Kevin Legasse trying to pull that one arm free and lay that out, but in the meantime, he's got an elbow on the neck of Nittery and now trying to crank him out.
Yeah, this is a very wrestling-orientated move here, and it looks like he's trying to do a little bit of an armbar there, holding on to that head. More in wrestling, you would hold on to that arm as well to give you that extra bit of control. But and there he goes, trying to get that arm now to take him down. Right now, if I were Kevin Legasse, I would abandon this position. But using that power to his advantage now, or taking an option to go to the back.
Nice throw there from Legasse and trying to do it again, and ends up mounted by Nittery. We'll see if he can make use of this position as he finds himself in a full mount, but a nice recovery there from Legasse, just moving Nittery wherever he wants him at this point, as long as he's keeping that headlock in.
Yeah, the tough part about this is holding onto that headlock actually burns out your arms, and hopefully it didn't in the case of Kevin Legasse, but he was holding onto that one fairly tightly, and I venture to guess that his arms are feeling it right now.
Double underhook secures another takedown for Kevin Legasse, now in the mount on Ryan Nittery. Nittery's got to be careful here. If Legasse can pop up, he'll be able to do some damage. Coaches giving Nittery advice. Shoulder slams to the head of Nittery there from Legasse. Again, a very strong wrestling like you'd expect from a Team Extreme fighter, and ending up again inside control. A very dominant round thus far for Kevin Legasse here in round number 1 of Hard Knocks 20.
Well, and if you look at Kevin Legasse, just his solid build here, as he works to put his right knee onto the stomach and chest of Ryan Nittery to be able to hold him down so that you don't have that rolling around that you do. We're down to about 27 seconds in the round, and as he keeps going, he's putting pressure down on the neck, and now he's going to get in. He's going to be in a good position here to rain down some blows.
Again, inside control, trying to break him down. Just a couple seconds left in round number 1. Nittery doing a good job of defending here in the early going. Again, just a couple seconds left as we work the way towards the end of round 1. Ryan Nittery and Kevin Legasse. Legasse ends the round like he started it up on top, but Nittery jumping up with a smile on his face, tongue sticking out, maybe trying to show that it wasn't as bad as it looked from here cage side.
Well, and again, I think that what ended up happening is Kevin Legasse definitely won that round. But the question is how much energy did he use up with winning that round? The way that he's built, He's built for power, less for speed. If you look again over at Ryan Nittery, he's a little more spread out over that time, and it allows for a different set of cardiovascular endurance. So again, we'll see what happens in the second round. If Kevin Legacy can continue to put forward that frantic pace that he did in the first round, he'll be very successful in this
Well,
fight.
and in talking to Legacy last night at the weigh-ins, he said that conditioning may be an issue for him because he spent this camp working on his cardio, but he doesn't feel like it's to the level it should be. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not Ryan Nittery can take advantage of Kevin Legacy here in the second round. After that first round, you can see Legacy breathing hard in his corner now while Nittery looks fresh. It'll be interesting to see how this second round plays out.
When they go showing a great deal of respect for one another, it makes a big difference. And when you get into that cage, you respect your opponent that he's in there with you, but you still want to kill him. And a huge shot there, and laughing it off is Ryan Nittery, but he got clocked really good here in his left eye.
Yeah, Nittery took took the right hand after landing a kick of his own, and it's right back into a dominant position for Kevin Legacy.
Yeah, it continues in. Now, the first round, he ended up in side control after the double leg. This time, he's in half guard. It's not exactly where he'd want to be able to rain down blows. Did better in the first round with the takedown, but again, that could be a conditioning issue or just a situational issue. But a really great job here by Ryan Nittery holding on to that half guard.
Trying to advance his position as Kevin Legacy has nearly popped that other leg out. Interesting to see, I mean, at this point, why they haven't decided to try and posture up. Seems to keep trying to tuck that arm under his knee and work him into a more defenseless position, but unable to do so thus far. Good wrist control there from Nittery, but again, just about had it, did Kevin Legacy, but Nittery able to pop out and keeping defense, but at the same time, cannot stay on the bottom for much longer, especially as this fight goes on.
That's right. And what happens is, as Kevin Legacy tries to hook that wrist, he needs to get his other leg on top of it. As soon as that wrist gets hooked, Ryan Nittery slips around. He pulls that leg back so he's able to slip out. Now he's looking to wall walk and hopefully get out of this position. Otherwise, he's spending another round on his back, which is never a good thing.
Legacy continuing to work the dominant position. Hasn't done much in the striking game from this position, but is seeming to want to work for a submission. Has been unable to do so thus far, and now starts to land a couple punches from the bottom, and Nittery wisely decides to start blocking as well.
3 solid blows there, and now he's continuing to work that arm. Now he's got that arm trapped. Now we've got some danger here for Ryan Nittery, as there's no arm in the way, but coming right up there. And again, back down. The power shown here by Kevin Legacy is very impressive.
Yeah, Legacy just laying on top of his opponent, refusing to let him go anywhere, and still advancing the action, trying to finish the fight, which is important. Otherwise, the referee will not hesitate to stand them up. But Ryan Nittery thus far, again, another round on his back with just 30 seconds to go here in round number 2.
Yeah, this is an opportunity there, and it's a good thing here that Kevin Legacy abandoned that position, because it looked like Ryan Nittery was going to slip out and could have ended up behind him, which would have been a dangerous spot. Holding on to kind of a front head pinch position. It's a classic wrestling position. Looking to stall at the round. 10 seconds left now.
Nittery tries to get him up against the cage, looking for a takedown of his own, but it may be too little too late as far as the judges are concerned, as Legacy tries the standing guillotine, and Nittery gets potentially saved by the bell there, as that looked like it was deep, but with no time left on the clock, Ryan Nittery may be in tough to win this fight without a stoppage.
Yeah, he needs to really come out in this third round. I don't think that there's an opportunity, and if you look at the replay here, that front head pinch position, they're going to stand up from it, and as they stand up, you're going to watch that he's going to try and hip in and force this standing guillotine position. Here it comes here.
Well, they do run up against the cage here, and Nittery getting really his only offense of this round, but for a kick early in round number 2. This is the best he had for round number 2. That one solidly going to Kevin Legacy.
Yeah, and again, Ryan Nittery needs to come out and needs to really push the pace in this, and he has to be able to defend the takedown of Kevin Legacy, which has so far dominated the match. First takedown took him down, they stayed down. Second round, did a takedown, stayed down there.
Third and final round here in this fight. 90 seconds between rounds for the amateurs. 3 3-minute rounds for the amateurs. 5 minutes for the pro fights once we get to those later tonight. And Kevin Legacy in the black trunks, Nittery in the white trunks as they look to finish this fight off and not let it get to the hands of the judges.
Yeah, you never want to do that. So far, by our estimation, as we're sitting here, we're giving this fight to Kevin Legacy, but judges see what they see, and you know, anything is possible when you leave it in the hands of the judges. So both fighters are going to want to end this, and I would think that Ryan Nittery definitely doesn't want to let this one get to the judges.
So again, pressing for the takedown is Kevin Legacy. A little better defended this time by Ryan Nittery. Switches to a single leg and does manage to secure the takedown, but Nittery pops right back up.
Well, and Ryan Nittery did something that he needs to work on his wrestling training here, because he didn't immediately switch to a whizzer to defend the single leg, which would have been able to keep him away from that. There's a nice takedown, nice throw. And it looks like Ryan Nittery is showing a little bit of extra vigor to come forward now.
On the other side, you can see Kevin Legacy adjusting his mouthpiece, throwing it in, throwing it out. He's starting to breathe pretty hard. And again, he talked about conditioning potentially being an issue if it got to 3 rounds, and we'll see whether or not that costs him here.
Well, conditioning is an issue for all athletes, and especially one who's 38, who's only had 2 amateur fights. But he's doing a great job continuing his leg attack there that he used to take down Ryan Nittery was a very good attack. And so he's really showing that he has that cardio. Again, maybe not to the level he wants to be able to go a full 5-minute round as you go to the pros, but definitely for these 3s, he seems to be in good enough shape.
Both fighters landing strikes as Legacy finds himself in the guard of Nittery. Nittery trying to land some leg attacks as well, but with just 1 minute to go, he's going to need to put on some offense here if he wants a chance to win this fight.
Yeah, and you look at Kevin Legacy's corner, they're right in the corner there. They're going to be saying to him, you know, no risks, 2 hands in, no triangles, no arm bars. Let's make sure that we don't end this. And going for the triangle right now is Ryan Nittery.
Well, as soon as it came out of your mouth, like he was listening to you, he tried to throw on a triangle, now trying to isolate an arm and unable to do so thus far, trying to secure that triangle. Just 30 seconds to go. It'll be a contest now of whether or not he can secure that triangle before the end of this 30 seconds. Trying to choke out Kevin Legacy and eating some punches for his trouble is Ryan Nittery. Legacy now just 15 seconds away from a likely decision victory on the short end, though, of a triangle choke that hasn't necessarily been all the way locked in. Not for lack of trying on the part of Ryan Nittery. Just 10 seconds left now in round number 3 as Nittery tries to break the hold and tries to get a choke, but I'm pretty sure Legacy would just pass out on top of him rather than tap at this point, and that is the end of the 3rd round. Kevin Legacy and Ryan Nittery kick it off in fashion and go to a decision here in round number 1 of Hard Knocks 20.
Yeah, very impressive performance here by Kevin Legacy, as he did a fantastic job dominating the wrestling aspect of it. He was able to take him down, and let's have a look here at this triangle attempt. Now, he's got it pretty tight near the end of the round, but you look at Kevin Legacy, he's got really big shoulders, so you have to get that shoulder extended if you want to be able to do enough damage. At this point, when you're looking at Kevin Legacy's dropping bombs on Ryan Nittery needs to take the punches and get into a more solid position. As easy as it is for me to say, as a person who is, you know, sitting here at the commentator booth, it's one of those things where if you take a little bit of pain, you're going to get that positive reward by finishing the position. And Ryan Nittery's going to go back to the drawing board, maybe work on his wrestling a little bit, as he that I think was his primary weakness in this fight. But looks like we are ready with the official decision, and we're going to go to Jaden Nance. Looks like we got a bit of time here as they just try to get those sheets up. Both those athletes are sitting there enjoying their time again. Looks like Kevin Legacy is going to win this. We're going to the judges' scorecards, and as they continue to add them up here. Although, you know, you get those 310s and 39s, but you never know what happens on a judge's scorecard. We have 8 total fights here tonight. We've got the 5 amateur and the 3 professional. Part 10 fights, the 7 amateur and 3 professional. And here we go with our official decision. We throw it in to Jaden Nance.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by MMA News Canada. It's a split decision. Andrew Pohl scores it 30-27 for Kevin Legacy. Michael Peterson scores it 30-27 for Kevin Legacy. And Shane Holan 29-28 for the winner in the red corner, Kevin Legacy.
So decision win by Kevin Legacy. We're going to go in with Ryan, who is with the winner.
Kevin, we'll just ask you a couple questions. Last night, you said conditioning might be an issue if it gets to the 3rd round. How tired are you right now?
Pretty tired.
Feeling good, though? I mean, throughout the fight, looked like the takedowns worked, and then you just worked the ground game from there.
Yeah. Went pretty much just planned.
So, a guy with a kickboxing background, you come in with a kickboxing gym, everybody expects you to try and throw with the guy. What was the decision to take it to the ground?
Oh, I knew he was a good striker, so it's pretty much a game plan.
All right, and I assume you have some sponsors in your gym you want to thank?
I just want to thank Team Extreme, INC Kickboxing, great clubs, both of them. Really helped me a lot.
I'll let you get back, get some rest, celebrate with your teammates. One more time for your winner.
Hard Knocks Fighting, live MMA action. To find the next Hard Knocks event in your city, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.
This School of Hard Knocks fight is an amateur bout in the 170-pound division and is brought to you by Rock 105.3, School of Hard Knocks 20 official radio station. And now, let's meet the fighters.
Hard Knocks 20 getting set for the second fight of the evening as we see Shady Yellowbird coming down to the cage. An independent out of Pigeon Lake, Alberta. They call him the Monster at 170 pounds, 5'7", just 18 years old as he steps in the cage to make his amateur debut.
Yeah, he mentioned that in Pigeon Lake, Alberta, there are no gyms to train. So he's watched UFC as a young boy. As he's gotten older, he started watching YouTube videos, started watching the UFCs to be able to train himself on the moves. Now, as an independent fighter, he's going to come in and he's a bit of an unknown. We don't know his gym affiliation. We don't know anything about him. So we can't be able to, obviously he doesn't have a gym affiliation. So we don't know anything about him. So he could be coming in and be an absolute monster, as his nickname goes. Or he could be one of those guys who comes in and thinks MMA is fun. But you're looking and talking to him earlier, Shady Yellowbird's ready to go.
Yeah, Shady seems like he's ready to fight, and again, comes in. It's interesting as we get into how technology is being used more and more in fighting. It says that he trains himself with YouTube. He watches YouTube videos put up by jiu-jitsu experts like Eddie Bravo. He watches other videos put up, he watches boxing videos, instructional videos, and teaches himself the technique. So it'll be interesting to see how he can apply those skills against a real live opponent, because to this point, it's been practicing the moves on YouTube and then stepping in and trying them on friends It'll be interesting to see now how he can do with a game opponent as opposed to a guy who's trying to help him.
And speaking of game opponents, coming out now is Eric Schmidt from Target Fitness in Strathmore. And right behind him is his brother, and who's no stranger to mixed martial arts here.
Yeah, Justin Schmidt, we saw him fight last in the Estevan card, was in the co-main event, suffered a knockout loss in that one, but a hockey enforcer, and Eric certainly follows in that mold, was a hockey enforcer himself, but at 19 years old thought, I'm done with hockey, I'm tired of trying to fight on skates, let's try and fight on the feet now, and feels like it's a natural transition for him to take that next step into MMA.
Yeah, and this is a very smart individual. He was I'm trying to think of the best word to describe him, but he came across as very intelligent and said that he likes focusing on all three aspects of MMA. He doesn't consider himself a ground fighter, he doesn't consider himself a stand-up fighter. He wants to focus on grappling, which includes jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, and the striking. He wants to be a truly balanced fighter, and that's a very great way to go about it there.
Feels like his striking game is where it needs to be, but he says that he spent the majority of his last camp working on his ground game. We've seen his brother Justin do a lot of things in the Hard Knocks cage, throwing bombs. I expect Eric to be able to do the same. It'll be interesting to see if this fight goes to the ground, what will happen. And again, a large reach and height advantage for Eric Schmidt over Shady Yellowbird. Again, 170 pounds fit into a 5'11 frame as opposed to 170 pounds in a 5'7 frame. So these two youngsters going head to head, and I've now gotten to the point, I guess, where I'm old enough to be able to say that as the 18-year-old, 19-year-old
And now the
gets set
official
to
Hard
face
Knocks
off.
fighter introductions. In the first on-site restoration blue corner, it's his amateur debut, and he weighed in at 167 1/2 pounds. Fighting as an independent from Pigeon Lake, he is Shady the Monster Yellowbird. And in the Ralph's Texas Bar and Steakhouse red corner, it's his amateur debut, and he weighed in at 171 pounds. Fighting as an independent from Calgary, please welcome Hard Knocks fighter, Eric Schmidt! This bout will be contested under amateur rules. The referee in charge of the Hard Knocks action is Mr. Bernie Pohl.
So once the cage door is closed, our referee will signal the start of our second fight of the night here at Hard Knocks 20 in Medicine Hat. Again, these two fighters both of them making their amateur debut. Butterflies, not an issue according to Eric Schmidt. We'll see how he handles the first going, and taking the pace early with a walk around is Eric Schmidt. Shady Yellowbird doing a little stalking, throws a nice sharp leg kick to start the fight.
Yeah, and Shady Yellowbird, again, that's a great and good technique, so learning quite well. But I'm concerned that his hands were right down by his waist, which can always be a danger when you're facing somebody who punches back.
Well, tried to throw a jumping, spinning kick. Did Shady Yellowbird, showing some athleticism, but Eric Schmidt right on top of him, and now has him he's in a top position, but it's a solid guard there from Shady Yellowbird, not allowing Eric Schmidt a lot of room.
Yeah, as he works in his heels here, I was just mentioning that Shady Yellowbird wasn't doing anything to advance, but if you look here, he's putting himself in a very good position to try and isolate an arm. But great top position here by Eric Schmidt as he continues to stay on top and in good, solid position.
Landed a solid right hand in that last exchange as they were flipping over. And again, a good guard there from Shady Yellowbird, teaching himself online, and apparently doing a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, and if you look here, Eric Schmidt doing an excellent job posturing up, and he postures up nice and slow. He works his way in until he gets to a point where he's ready to lay the shot down, postures up, lays the shot, and then continues to go down. And almost an isolation on the arm here, and in on the legs now is Shady Yellowbird.
Yellowbird trying to get his way up and does. Big knee, though, coming from SCHMIT as a return for the exchange, and another knee to the midsection. Shady Yellowbird in a bit of a trouble here as Eric SCHMIT has him clinched up against the cage now and is continuing to land knees.
Yeah, knees to the body, as anyone can attest, can do some real damage. Catch one of those in the liver, and that's all she wrote for that fight.
Yellowbird in the blue trunks, SCHMIT in the red trunks. And again, more knees coming from SCHMIT up against the cage here right in front of us. And Eric SCHMIT eats a knee there to the thigh from Yellowbird.
Yeah, doing a great job positioning and holding him up against the cage. You'd be amazed at how that affects the energy system, but it looks like they're going to get back to center here and give us some more stand-up.
Yellowbird keeps coming forward, SCHMIT retreating, and Yellowbird tries another kick that doesn't quite land.
And you can see that reach is a difference, because in where Eric SCHMIT can still do damage, Shady Yellowbird's too far away and got caught in the lower abdominal region, or the groin.
I wouldn't even call that the abdominal region. A quick reaction there from Shady Yellowbird. He'll have a couple minutes to shake that off as Eric SCHMIT heads over to a neutral corner. I'm sure that wasn't necessarily intentional as Yellowbird tries to get an adjustment there.
And the important part of this for Shady Yellowbird is everybody wants to prove that they're ready to go. He needs to take his time and make sure that he is ready to go. Many times we've seen in all levels of MMA, people ready to go a lot faster and not taking their full time, and it affecting them as you go forward. You look at illegal knees or illegal elbows in the UFC, and people continue to fight and not take their 5 minutes, and they ends up affecting them for the rest of the fight.
Back underway, Yellowbird seems to have recovered. The warning coming from the official to Eric SCHMIT, and SCHMIT trying to end this first round with a flurry, heard the 10-second mark and started throwing bombs, knowing that he wants to put the impression in the judge's mind that he was the winner of that round. He heard that clapper and he went forward with a vengeance.
Yeah, he might have even stolen that round. If you look again, he ended up on top, but he stole it in a way that it's now no doubt that who won that round. Whereas before, you could say that Shady Yellowbird landed some, Eric SCHMIT landed some. It was good back and forth action, but that end of the round might have stolen the entire round.
Now again, we see the differing styles here. We'll see on the replay here as they come across. We'll see, I believe, that low kick. Yep, there it is. And Eric knew he kicked him there. I think he was trying for the leg kick, and Shady juked back a little, opening himself up for that strike. I by no means do I think it was intentional that he opened him up for the strike, but not an intentional low blow, but still, again, something the referee has to warn, and something that is a problem for fighters when you look at that height advantage. If he's thinking, I'll kick him in the mid-thigh, and he stretches out to where the mid-thigh should be in his mind, that could be where the shorter fighter takes one where he doesn't want to.
Well, it also depends on the training partners that Eric SCHMIT is used to training with. If he's training with his brother a lot, who's much taller, again, that target is a lot different, and your body mechanics and body movement get stuck in there. So we're here, second round.
Round number 2 underway. SCHMIT rushes forward and finds himself in the grasp of Yellowbird, who tries to secure a double leg and does a nice job on the takedown.
Yeah. Excellent job on the takedown. Next time, as Eric SCHMIT watches this tape, he'd want to make sure that his legs are back first. And he did that initially and then decided that he was going to try and get an upper body exchange, but then forgot to put his legs back, and that's how Yellowbird was able to be successful in this takedown.
Big knee to the ribs there from Yellowbird and transitions it into the mount. Again, I need to know what YouTube channel this kid's subscribing to, because he is doing an excellent job on the ground of working his ground game for somebody who hasn't had a regular training partner.
And his technique is excellent too. You just saw there, and on the camera, there was a little bit where you had Eric SCHMIT's feet against the wall. And what he did was a little shimmy forward, a little bit of a shimmy forward to be able to take away that position. And that's gained after big training partners, and a huge throw there by Shady Yellowbird. Wow, very well done. Hips through, and a great result.
Well, trying to get out of the position was Eric Schmidt, and he found himself right back down with authority. Shady Yellowbird doing a very good job here in the first half of round number 2 of controlling this fight.
And I'm just blown away by the cage intelligence here by Shady Yellowbird. Very good position, and these are not necessarily things you learn from YouTube, but right back on top is Eric Schmidt.
Eric Schmidt doing a good job with the reversal, trying to get him over. Again, no twisting leg locks here in the Hard Knocks Fighting Championship under the Medicine Hat Commission rules, so you won't see Shady Yellowbird trying anything from that position. But Eric Schmidt continuing to land shots to the body as he knows he's got, and a nice head scissor catch there from Eric Schmidt as Shady Yellowbird tried to throw him over, but now he's escaped again and finds himself in a bit of a north-south.
And now going in here for a high crotch position is Shady Yellowbird. Good job by Eric Schmidt as he tries to work his arm in for a little bit of a guillotine. Now on top, just trying to, again, I always talk about an energy system of a fighter being so important, and Eric Schmidt doing a great job here. Now on top, looking to take advantage and maybe win this round back.
He might need to do a little more than he's doing now, as at the moment seems to be getting his rest, but now he postures up and tries to land some strikes. Finds himself again switched over. Yellowbird doing a good job of scrambling out of that mounted position.
10 seconds left in the round now, and again, Eric Schmidt's got to do a lot to be able to take this round away from Shady Yellowbird.
Continues punching, but unable to do much damage from that position, as well covered up with Shady Yellowbird. 2 rounds in the books here in our second fight of the night, a pretty even one thus far, and this time the stool comes in for Eric Schmidt. We've talked about it on other broadcasts before. If you don't take the stool in the first round and you do take it in the second round, you may be offering, and there's the replay on that big judo throw, you may be offering your opponent a psychological advantage.
Yeah, and when you see an opponent stand up in the first round and then sit down, it kind of is the I'm getting the better of him now. However, it could be part of the plan. The thing with coaches is every coach is different in the way that they want to present their fighter, and some say that they want to stand, or maybe the fighter in the first round said I don't want to sit down, and it takes away from their game plan. I've never seen too much into that, but again, I do see where you're coming from, where in the mind of an opponent, it could mean vastly different things than in the mind of the actual fighter.
Third and final round about to get underway. Referee is ready. Both fighters appear ready. Heavy breathing from Eric Schmidt. Shady Yellowbird comes forward with a purpose, and he looks ready to go.
1 round each, you think?
At this point, I'm not going to call it. Because I've been wrong so many times in the past. But we'll see how this third and final round shapes up.
And both guys stalking one another. And look at the difference in just the facial expressions and the eyes of Shady Yellowbird and Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt looks like he's getting ready to go for a fight. Shady Yellowbird could be playing video games for all I know. He's just completely calm and the way he does it, and that shows a guy who's got great experience. In on the single leg now is Eric Schmidt looking to finish. Excellent job with the finish, waiting until Shady Yellowbird was off the ground a little bit, hooking behind and taking him down.
Yeah, nice takedown, nice follow through and finish there as Shady Yellowbird got a couple of hops and kept his balance for a brief moment, but now is finding himself on the receiving end of some punches here coming from the hands of Eric Schmidt.
And Eric Schmidt has got to stay busy, because the last thing he wants now is Shady Yellowbird to get up. We don't know what's happened with the judges' scorecards. We're not privy to that information, but nice shots there by Eric Schmidt. Is going to continue keeping this fight on the ground. If he ever stops or slows down, the official might call him right standing.
And again, a nice guard here, not allowing much room for Schmidt is Yellowbird on the bottom. We saw that in round number 1. He ended up scrambling out. And here in round number 3, not as much scramble coming from Yellowbird. And at this point now, we're getting towards the end of the fight, and you may see that conditioning come into effect.
Yeah, some good hammer fist by Eric Schmidt, just trying to remain busy. Again, the most important part is he does not want this fight to go back standing, and he wants to stay in this dominant position. By keeping busy, that's going to be the best way for Eric Schmidt to keep this fight on the ground.
Well, and they say it doesn't matter how you win a round as long as you win a round, and it may not have been as spectacular fashion as we might have seen round number 2 go to Yellowbird, but Schmidt doing a very effective job of limiting his opponent, exhibiting good cage control here in round number 3.
Yeah, Eric Schmidt continues to stay on top, now looking to mount, ended up in the half guard, but that is a better position, advanced position than the full guard that he was in to start. So excellent job by Eric Schmidt as he continues to advance his position. What ends up happening is Eric Schmidt needs to stay low. He doesn't want to get up too high and get switched over.
So again, Schmidt in a very, very loose half guard. The mount is likely there if he wants to take it, but for the moment content with just 15 seconds left in the round to continue feeding punches into Yellowbird and hopefully hoping that one of the rounds went his way on the judges' scorecards to get the decision. As we've got just a couple seconds left, he'll try and land a couple more punches, but this fight is over as Shady Yellowbird and Eric Schmidt go the distance in a very entertaining fight between these two amateurs making their debut.
Yeah, these amateurs, very good technique. I'm especially impressed with Shady Yellowbird just based on the fact that he hasn't had any formal training by his own admission and learning all this from YouTube. And a credit to him as we look here at the replay. At the end of the fight, a nice shot right at the bell for Eric Schmidt. Definitely won that round, but we're going to have to see how the judges come forward with all these other ones.
And it looks like the official decision is in.
As you look at Shady Yellowbird there, bent over, I can imagine how tired he would be there. We're looking here at 3 rounds. We went to the judges again. Eric Schmidt in the corner with his brother Justin. Eric putting on a shirt again. Both these athletes put on a heck of a show for us here as they continue to deliberate over the judges' scores as they try and come up with a total. Now we have the official decision. We're going to throw it to Jay Denance, who's in the center of the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision brought to you by Rock 105.3. The winner by unanimous decision in the red corner, Eric Schmidt!
So Eric Schmidt winning his amateur debut. He's going to be with
Eric,
Ryan
I'll
in the
get
center.
you here, center of the cage. Hell of an amateur debut for you. You come out, you go the full distance in a very entertaining fight.
Just went out there and I trained hard for this fight. And, Shady, what an awesome fighter he was, to take this fight on short notice. And, all the credit in the world to him and his team.
Now they got the replay up there, the takedown in round number 3. A hard takedown. You were able to exhibit control for the rest of the 3rd round. How important was that for you?
Well, I just had that leg and I took out the other leg and I just laid on top of him and threw whatever I could that was left in the tank and, came out with the win.
Now I'm sure you got some sponsors and coaches to thank.
Yeah, all the boys in my corner. They were here with me since day one, and I love them all. Linda from Target Fitness has let our team use her gym at our full disposal. I want to thank her. My boxing coach Ivan couldn't be here today. His wife's very sick. Thank him, and thank everybody who's in my corner.
One more time for your winner, everybody, Eric Schmidt.
Fighting, live MMA action. To find the next Hard Knocks event in your city, please visit hardknocksfighting.com.